It's the final minute of the match. Everyone around you is on their feet, screaming, shouting, hugging strangers they've never met. The guy next to you is literally shaking. His fists are clenched. His jaw is tight. He hasn't blinked in 30 seconds. The score changes, and the entire place just explodes. And you're just sitting there, watching it like it's a nature documentary. Same room, same moment, completely different experience. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet question forms. What is wrong with me? By the end of this, you'll have a very different answer. That man who was shaking goes home tonight and doesn't say a word at dinner, snaps at his kids over nothing, lies awake at 3 a.m. replaying a game he had zero control over. That connection is real. That belonging is powerful. There's nothing wrong with needing it. But here's what most people never stop to ask. Why didn't you feel it? Not in a something is broken way. In a where did that path close for you way. Because for most people, it started somewhere specific. Picture this, you're 10 years old, lunchtime. Someone's picking teams in the schoolyard. They go through the names, one by one, and you wait until there's almost nobody left. And someone finally says your name, not with enthusiasm, just because they had to. You play, you miss the ball, someone sighs, someone says something under their breath, and your brain, quietly, without asking your permission, files that away. This world is not for me. You didn't decide to stop caring about sports that day. You just stopped trying to get in. And 20 years later, when someone asks why you don't follow any team, you don't even remember where it started. This is what's happening under the surface. The brain doesn't just store memories, it stores emotions attached to memories. And when an experience repeatedly produces shame or exclusion, the brain starts avoiding everything connected to it. Not as a choice, as a reflex, a protection mechanism that runs long before you're conscious of it. So the person who doesn't care about sports often isn't indifferent at all. They just learned early that caring came with a cost. Do you know someone like that? Or maybe that someone is you. But rejection isn't the only reason, not even close. Some people grow up and the connection between their brain and their feet just never quite clicks. They watch someone control a ball perfectly and genuinely cannot understand how that's possible. Not because they're not trying, because the physical language of sport was never their native one. Coordination is your brain and body working together in real time. For some people, that conversation is effortless. For others, it never quite syncs up. And when you've spent years not understanding something your body is supposed to do naturally, you stop finding it interesting to watch other people do it either. It's not laziness. It's a distance that was built one missed ball, one confused moment at a time. Or maybe it was never the sport at all. Think about what a stadium actually is. 50,000 people, noise that physically vibrates in your chest, strangers pressed against you, collective emotion erupting without warning from every direction. For some nervous systems, that's not exciting, that's exhausting. Some people process sensory information more intensely than others. After an hour of that density and unpredictability, they're not energized, they're completely drained. So the instinct to step back isn't a personality flaw, it's the nervous system doing its job. These people might actually find the sport itself interesting, but the moment it requires a crowd, a bar, a room full of people screaming, something inside shuts down. So they drift away, quietly, without fully understanding why. And everyone around them reads it as not caring, when really, they just needed the volume turned down. Which one of these feels closest to you? Or sometimes, none of that happened. No rejection, no coordination issues, no crowd anxiety. It just never landed, and that's its own complete answer. And here's the shift. These people don't feel less, they feel elsewhere. Some people watch the game, others build their own, and this is where it shifts again. Sports run on unpredictability. You don't know when the goal is coming, and that uncertainty is exactly what keeps the dopamine flowing. It's the same mechanism behind slot machines. The reward isn't guaranteed, and that's precisely what makes it hard to look away. But for some people, that system doesn't fire the same way. Their brain responds to something different entirely. Direct feedback, visible progress, a result that changes because of what they did. Picture someone at 11 at night, completely absorbed in something they're creating. Not because they have to, because every small improvement produces a result they caused. Something real, something entirely theirs. That's the same intensity as the final minute of a match, just pointed inward instead of outward. You're not watching life happen, you're in it. Now, there's a pattern most people never notice. Watch how fans talk after a big win. We did it. We finally won. We're the best. We. Now watch after a loss. They played terribly. The coach got it wrong. They let us down. They. Same people, same team, different pronoun. That shift seems small. It isn't. There's actually a name for this. BIRGing, basking in reflected glory. The brain borrows someone else's success to boost its own self-image. Attach yourself to a winner, and you feel like a winner. Without doing the work, it's a shortcut. The brain finds the fastest available path to feeling good about itself. And when it turns into a loss, quietly detach. Protect the ego. Switch pronouns. It's not a flaw. It's just the brain doing what brains always do. But when your identity was never built on someone else's performance, that shortcut doesn't exist for you. Your sense of worth has to come from somewhere real. Your own work, your own choices, your own progress. And yes, that's harder. There's no scoreboard handing you a win on a Saturday afternoon. But it also means your self-worth can't be taken away by a missed penalty. It stays where you left it. Most people never get that. So what does all of this mean? Not caring about sports isn't a gap. It's a story. Sometimes it started in a schoolyard, a moment that quietly closed a door you never tried to open again. Sometimes it lived in a body that never found its language in physical sport. Sometimes it was a nervous system that chose quiet over crowd, depth over noise. And sometimes there's no story at all. It just never landed. None of these makes someone more evolved. None makes someone less human. They're just different ways the same need gets wired. The fans in that stadium felt something real tonight, and so did you, just somewhere else entirely. You didn't lose anything. You never needed to borrow meaning from something outside your control. No crowd, no scoreboard, no noise, just you. What's left? When nothing else is, leave one word in the comments. Just one. And if understanding why people think, feel, and behave the way they do is something that matters to you, you're exactly where you should be. Because next, we're looking at a generation that shaped the world you grew up in. Baby boomers, born between 1946 and 1964. The generation that rebuilt everything after a world war and raised children who would question everything they built. They've been called selfish, they've been called out of touch, but the real story is more complicated than that. And once you understand what actually shaped their mindset, a lot of things start to make a different kind of sense.